So here's a quote that resonates with me. If you wish to build a tower that pierces the sky, start first with the foundation of humility. So let me be humble. Public speaking is not my forte. I'm a man of few words, 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So I'm sharing today's ThruDark's founder's story. And so hopefully I'm going to give you a little bit of insight and a little bit of inspiration. From humble beginnings. So I'm Louis Tinsley, Louis ThruDark. Spent 14 years in the military, 8 of those in UK Special Forces. But where did it all start? So I'm from a little-known place called T-Bay in the Lake District, but I was made in the Royal Marines. From humble beginnings, council estate chic, I had a challenging upbringing as a kid. But what that did give me was an affinity to being outdoors and playing sports, foundation of resilience. I wanted to be an action hero, influenced by the action hero movies of the time, Predator, Rambo, you get it. I was also influenced by one of the greatest marketing campaigns the military's ever produced, which is 99.9% need not apply. I wanted to be part of that 0.1%. So I trained hard, and I got myself ready physically. I packed my bags, my ironing board, my poorly fitted suit, and I made my way down to the barbed wire gates of Lympstone Commando in Exeter. Those 32 weeks of Royal Marines training turned a young man into an elite soldier. I wasn't the best there, and far from it. In fact, I got the most improved recruit. They called me Try Hard Tinsley. There is no substitute for hard work. So I learned a huge amount from my time in the Royal Marines. Excellence, integrity, self-discipline, humility, and teamwork. In 2006, with a little experience under my belt, I joined 40 Commando in Exeter. This is where I met Stas, a man much like myself, council estate chic from Mansfield. We were preparing to go on mountain training, and I was showing Stas how to put copper wire into the hood on his jacket. This would provide like a storm peak that would prepare us for the inevitably shit cold weather up in the Scottish Highlands. Now, there's a term for these kind of people who have that attention for detail in the military. They're called kit pests. Me and Stas, we were kit pests. And this is where it all began. Stas and I deployed on various exercises and tours together over the next few years before separately applying for Special Forces selection. The devil is in the detail. Small, marginal gains. Special Forces. UK Special Forces are the nation's most highly trained and elite military unit, specializing in covert, high-risk operations. They operate in the world's most hostile environments. Under extreme pressure, often against impossible odds. These soldiers are capable of audacious missions such as hostage rescues, sabotage, precision strikes, and high-value target pursuits. The selection process is brutal. It's 9 months long. It has to be. Only the best from their units will go forwards for Special Forces selection. The pass rate is slim, like 5% of the guys that go on that course will pass. And even if you do get to the end, that's not definitely a guaranteed pass. The photo reference, if you look on the left there, that's me after 6 weeks rolling around on the jungle floor, on my belt buckles, sleeping in the webs of trees, camouflage head to toe, 10 kilogram lighter than when I went in there. Foot rot, skin crawling with parasites, broken. but I'd proved my soldiering skills were up to standard in the most horrific environment, the jungle. Stas and I served in the rockstar years of Special Forces, serving across the globe in various environments, from Arctic tundra, deserts, to the humid jungle. A Special Forces motto: the unrelenting pursuit of excellence. Born in the shadows, built for the extreme. As Special Forces, you're equipped with the highest specification equipment possible. That said, we were always critical of the way that it performed. Even with the best kit, things fail. We were in America on a parachute exercise, routine training to enable us to deploy covertly from the air into a hostile environment. Loaded with every item of kit you can think of: ammunition, weapon systems, optics. During this exercise, Stas had a malfunction at 20,000 feet, spiraling into the abyss, trying to find the emergency parachute grab handle, and adding more drama to that situation, his jacket zip failed mid-air, slapping him in the face whilst he was trying to perform his emergency drill. Obviously, he lived to tell the tale. That was an extreme situation, but that was the spark. We started asking, could we build better kit, stronger materials, reinforced panels, innovative features? Could anybody else put the gear through more arduous testing than us? Our USP was authentic. It had integrity. We were cut from a different cloth. From door kicking to fabric pulling. In 2006, I had an ultimatum. 14 years of military training and operations had taken its toll. I had a significant spinal injury that meant I could not perform at the highest level without risk to myself or my comrades. I felt like a liability. I could either step back, but take a step back from operations, or I could take the opportunity to start a new journey. And so it began, from door kicking to fabric pulling. Now, leaving the military was difficult. A lot of veterans struggle with this. When you spend all of your life training at elite level, it becomes part of your identity. I was part of an elite group. I had prestige, I had purpose, and I had a belonging. That was now gone. It was difficult to leave behind. However, I was committed. Stas would say that I wouldn't have survived on the outside by myself, and I'd say he was hanging off my coattails. In 2017, we left the service with a passion and belief that our experience could build a brand that manufactured world-leading outdoor products with a unique Special Forces heritage. Commit. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. The brand names, there's some pretty embarrassing kind of logo ideation there from the early days. We needed a unique brand name, which is a challenge given that almost any obvious name you can think of has been trademarked. We searched for something meaningful. Special Forces operations are conducted at night. We threw a lot of ideas around with nothing sticking until ThruDark. Not only did it represent the operations we used to conduct at night, but it also represented the hard times that we went through in the military. With a little misspelling and a trademark search and registration later, we had it. ThruDark. More than a name, an inspirational and motivational brand. We had a purpose. Product vision. Given that we'd both been kit pests, sewing socks into the cuffs on our jackets for extra warmth, reinforcing panels with extra fabric onto the knees for our trousers for added durability. We had a vision for how the product should function and the aesthetic. First and foremost, it had to function, but it needs to look good as well. Nobody wants to walk around the mountain looking like a human highlighter. The color palette was set, stealth, all black, everything. There were brands that we admired, Arc'teryx for function, and Stone Island for aesthetics. We had a fair share of doubters, especially from our old work colleagues. You guys are starting a fashion brand. I'd sketch up Louis H. Street designs, as you can see. We've come a long way. We had a vision. Hard yards. There are skills that we'd honed from our time in the military that have helped us. Meticulous planning, adaptable, quick learners, resilience. We sold our beloved motorbikes to fund the business, took opportunistic bodyguard work to pay the bills. I did a fast-track course in business in Bristol, and work experience in a Preston clothing factory shadowing a pattern cutter. I traveled to China and attended a trade fair. Almost all of the high-quality manufacturers wouldn't even consider the small order numbers we needed to get this off the ground. I came home with a head full of ideas and delusions of grandeur. We had limited contacts for manufacturing. Our first samples were disappointing. They didn't meet the standard we required. Solutions, not problems. Meticulous planning was key. It was back to the long-term borrowed military whiteboard in Stas's front room, which had become the HQ for our new operation. We planned it like a military operation with military sayings that had been dialed into us. The 7 Ps. Prior preparation and planning prevents piss-poor performance. Pre-mortem and post-mortem everything. Attention to detail. What could go wrong probably will go wrong, but provide solutions. And still, no plan survives first contact. So the guy in the middle of me and Stas there is Steve Clark, a friend first and foremost, a mentor, and ThruDark's founding investor. Myself and Stas were socializing down the local boozer one night, scheming. This is where most of our good ideas were planned, formed over a beer and a burger. We knew Steve was a successful businessman, but we didn't know just at this stage how successful he was. He'd already raised capital and kind of funded big companies such as Bremont Watches, Monica Vinader, Pressed Juices, just to name a few. Overhearing the idea, and more importantly probably our passion for it, Steve said, "Bring me a business plan tomorrow and I'll see if there's a way I can find to support you." We discussed it, and Steve was like, "Look, I love your idea. I love you two guys more importantly. I can help you get this off the ground." We had a bit of a tailwind. He provided some finances and also a small office space, and that gave us kind of the tailwind we needed to push forwards. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Jeff Griffin, Loveland Farm. So a key part of the journey, I have a bit of a habit of completing the internet. In the military, there's information gathering is a key skill set. In amongst my research, I found this particular brand that was doing some cool stuff. Griffin, run by Jeff Griffin. He'd worked with some big brands before, Converse, Diesel, Berghaus. So I reached out and I said, "Look, are you interested in this idea?" And he was like, "Look, okay, come down to our Loveland retreat, an eco retreat in Bude." When we arrived at the farmhouse, this 6'4", bearded man with a tooth missing, wearing a camouflage shirt and a kilt. He's got one flip-flop on, and his dog's there with his reading glasses in his mouth. And me and Stas were just like, what on earth is going on here? So Jeff proceeded to give us the tour of his eco-retreat, introducing us to the buffalo, which was nice. Then the pigs, which was cool. His vast collection of military archive clothing. And then finally his office, which looked like somebody had thrown a grenade in it. It was a comedy sketch. So we pitched the idea to Jeff with him not saying much other than, guys, I don't think you realize how hard this industry is going to be. So we kind of left that place with tail between legs, still a little bit blown away by being met by Jeff Griffin at the door, and felt like the wind had been taken out of our sails. Back to the whiteboard. Time on reconnaissance is seldom wasted. Some long days and hours later, we're in the office planning on it and scheming for our next idea. And Jeff replied, lads, I love your idea and I'm willing to help you. I think your ideas are great and you're going to need all the help you can get. We caught Jeff at the right time. He was in between big projects, he liked us, and he liked our story. He could see the passion and enthusiasm, and he liked what we were trying to do. So he invited us back to Bude. We stayed for 3 nights talking through the products, what we liked, the designs and the fabrics. It was awesome. Jeff put pen to paper on the first designs that we were happy with. We were excited. It was next steps. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Italy. So Jeff introduced us to a factory in Italy, a small family-run business that was making highly technical products for luxury brands like Moncler, Fendi, and Chanel. Sample process took around 12 months with regular visits to the factory to help develop the products, ongoing trials and developments, but with myself and Stas, whilst we were juggling the odd security job just to pay the bills. On one particular security job, this guy tapped me on the shoulder. I was wearing a prototype jacket, and he said, in a very bad American accent, "Hey man, what's that jacket you're wearing?" I was very proud to turn around and say, "It's ThruDark, it's our brand." And he turned around and he said, "Man, it looks like Stone Island got pissed off and wanted to shoot somebody." We nailed it. We'd been introduced to a technically capable manufacturing facility, exactly what we needed to make the product we had a vision for. What's more, they were a quality factory, the artisans of clothing manufacturing. Quality over quantity. We don't just stand by our kit, we stand in it. At every development stage, we test the kit. We push ourselves and our products to the limits to ensure that each and every product meets end user demands. Failure is unacceptable, and we take a Kaizen approach to developing the product. We ruthlessly test and critique every single product to ensure there is no compromise on performance. Actions speak louder than words. So forming the brand identity was a key part of our success. We enlisted a former Special Forces guy called Joe Bates. He'd formed a branding agency in London called Sierra 5 at the time. The following week's focus groups would help us. Like, he could see the vision, he knew exactly what we were trying to do because he'd already been in our position before. Explaining the vision was easy. The color palette was set. Stealth, mostly black, maybe with a hint of green. Serious and moody, I have 2 looks. Tone of voice was confident with a tone of humility and an undertone of humor. The unique look and feel helped us punch our unique and authentic brand proposition into a hugely saturated market. We were different. The brand guideline deck has been the foundation of how we've showed up over the last 8 years. It's been consistent. Consistency builds success. The mark. So our former cap badge in the middle there with the kind of blue waves going through it, it looks like that. So it's a sword passing through waves. The symbol on the right is the symbol for antimony, which means the inner animal. And the chemical symbol for antimony is SB, which, tri-meaning, all of those three things combined makes our ThruDark insignia. So quite complex, quite hard to explain, but hopefully you get it. So, yeah, and nevertheless, huge improvement on the initial kind of logo ideas that I showed you earlier. And yeah, I'm proud to say that, you know, that mark should stand the test of time. Stay true to your roots and don't lose your identity. The mantra. So, beyond the brand name, a brand needs a mantra, a unique phrase or tagline. We juggled a few ideas, and we wanted it to resonate with our customers. We wanted them to feel connected to the brand. The difficult situations that we've been through, but also everybody's own situations where they've been through difficult times. No matter what degree, it's individual. Suffering is universal. So we attended an event organized yearly by the Special Boat Service, and it was at that event we met Tom Hardy, and I say this because of the context. We were bouncing around a few ideas, and they were a bit naff. It was like, go through the dark, and the only way is through the dark, and it just didn't sit well. And then we mentioned it to Tom Hardy, and Tom Hardy turned around and said, why don't you use Endeavour? And it stuck. Endeavour through adversity. For all those who go through hardship in their own lives. Hopefully that resonates with, well, every one of you in this room. Launching with impact. So we knew we had to launch with intent, so we plotted, we schemed, we begged, borrowed, stole, and we came up with the idea to create Inception. Go hard or go home. Narrated by Tom Hardy.
Here's to fate. He's on the run. Now this journey is ours. Our drive. Our dreams. Our fears. So don't delay. Don't hesitate. Prepare. Be ready. And wait. For our time is now. This life is yours, so live it.
Hard to believe that was 8 years ago, to be honest. Okay, so the launch back in 2018. Through connections of our investor, we managed to secure a premium launch event space, Bremont Boutique in Mayfair. That was an opportunity to gather friends of the family, kind of journalists, people who helped us along the way. It was an opportunity to say thank you for getting us to that stage. Close to the wire with myself and Staz still putting the finishing touches to the website in the car on the way down there. The factory owners were traveling over that same day and with the samples for display at the event. It was close to the wire, really close. Still, we launched with significant impact with the video and with everything else, and we had immediately impactful sales. But like I said, more than anything, it was an opportunity to say thank you to all the people that had managed to get us to that stage. Be thankful to the people who help you along the way. Our first 3 products that we launched here, modeled by Foxy. We've got the Zodiac jacket, the Expedition Parker in the middle, and the hybrid jacket, all after ridiculous amounts of sample stages. It's ready when it's ready. So, a mission statement. We're an inspirational and motivational brand. We enable people to perform at the best of their ability. Our core values: humility, integrity, relentless pursuit of excellence, and unity. Stay true to your core beliefs. Business growth. I think with any founded story, it's pretty similar, right? It started with 2 of us in the office, juggling every single possible role: customer service, social media, design, you name it, we did it. Nothing was beneath us. During our first few years of growth, we hired team players with multifaceted skill sets, the multi-tools, the Swiss Army knives, the people that were able to do multi-jobs excellently. As you grow, you realize that you need to hire subject matter experts. Experts, one-trick ponies, but what they do excellently. Now we're a team of 40 plus, specialties in each role, stabilized structure, and this is always a work in progress. People will move on, it's inevitable, they're on their own journeys. Lead from the front, but know when to step back. This is really, really difficult. So our founding ambassadors believed in us. We had integrity. Our special forces background preceded us. Foxy, Victoria Pendleton, Dylan Hartley, and more recently, Chris Billam-Smith and Lizzie Daly. They believe in the brand, the ethos, and not the paycheck. We've since been able to give our founding ambassadors a small share in the business, our way of paying back. Act with integrity. So we've recently categorized our kind of business into 3 key areas: outdoor, utility, and active. And importantly, we have credibility in each of these areas, each pillar backed up by our USP, Special Forces designed, developed, and tested gear. Hammer home your USP. So we've been recognized for awards and features, and this is great validation. It's testament to teamwork and dedication, unified in the unrelenting pursuit of excellence. It's awesome to have these accolades, but we don't rest on our laurels. So there's been some pretty difficult growing pains along the way. Transition from our own warehouse and distribution to 3PL, moving all of our stock over a weekend during a Black Friday sale was like trying to change the engine oil on a car while it was still moving. We since then repurposed our old warehouse into a photography studio and retail store. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. So we've had the opportunity to partner with one of the biggest gaming franchises in the world, Call of Duty. consulting on the in-game character, Ratcliffe, the first time a UK Special Forces character is featured in the great game. And proceeds from the Endeavour pack, which we sold through our e-commerce store, went back to veterans, getting them back into meaningful employment. It's come full circle, and I'm proud of that. Triumph, a huge British kind of heritage brand who do motorcycles, for those who don't know. And from our days in the military, myself and Stas were both mobility operators. So that meant that we were trained in off-road capabilities, including motorbikes. There's more coming here soon. Most importantly, take away from this is partnerships with integrity. Some great PR pieces in credible publications here. People often say, enjoy the journey. I find this really difficult. I'm always focused on getting from A to B. I'm absolutely terrible for it. But take time to reflect, appreciate what you've done, stay humble. I'm truly thankful to be here today to give this speech to you guys. So what have we got on the horizon? So we've got our circularity platform, Resurgence. This is basically our form of Vinted, an opportunity for kind of our customers to be able to trade in their garments. It's a resale platform. Stas at the moment, the reason why he's not here with me is because he's busy training for Mission Everest. So world record attempt, 7 days to get from the UK to the top of Everest. And he's doing it with a team, another team of 3 guys. This is a sensational effort. He's mid kind of oxygen chamber of a nighttime, sleeping in a tent, training all hours of the day to try and prepare for this. So it's going to be a huge achievement. Exciting new white space development. We've got luggage on the horizon. I've just come back from a trip to Vietnam to kind of inspect the factory out there, and it's excellent. I'll tentatively mention the US because we all know what's going on with the tariffs at the moment. We're in a bit of a holding pattern on that one. And then Dissident, which is our take on utility, which launched yesterday. Consistently evolving. So some final words. It wasn't easy. We've had tailwinds and we've had setbacks. I'm truly thankful for everyone that has helped us or been involved in the journey along the way. So there's a thread throughout this presentation, and that's unity, integrity, relentless pursuit of excellence, and humility. If you wish to build a tower that pierces the sky, start first with the foundation of humility. Thank you.